All right, what up, everybody? What up, everybody? Let me get to the spot. Oh, back in the home office. Let me get the microphone on me so we can get some good, clean audio. Where do I want this? Let's get it right there so we can. All right. This is Plan Your Greatness. I am your gracious host, Carlton Hamilton, and let's get started. I wanted to share something with you, a little bit of a journey, because I'm getting some people that are asking me some different things, and starting to get some opportunities to speak, and a lot of questions are coming up, and it's really taking me back to that journey that I went through. So I want to share this with you. Now, after I played professional baseball, and so some of you that have followed me know that I played professional baseball, but some of you also know that I ended up in prison. So in this instance of after I played professional baseball, I sank into this very deep, dark, depressed state. And that was because I really didn't have a plan on after I played professional baseball. So that deep, dark place of depression resulted in messing up three particular areas of my life. Relationships, I couldn't maintain a good relationship. Academics, I could not stay focused in school. And employment, I just could not maintain a good employee relationship. And so that spiraled me into being homeless. All right. And that homeless continued on for an extended period of time to where I was involved in an armed robbery in 1985, armed robbery, 3 counts of kidnapping. So a few months after that, I was sent to prison, or I was convicted, and I started that process of going through the legal system, the criminal justice system, and then the prison system. So here I am in prison, and I've got to make a major decision. And so what I did was I asked myself 3 questions, and this is really what the book is based around. This channel, Plan Your Greatness, is based around the book that I wrote called Plan Your Greatness: Life, Love, and Business, Business and Sports After Prison. So it's talking about my journey with some stories in there. All right, so I had to make a decision, and so at that point, that's when I asked myself, Carlton, what do you want? Why do you want it? And can you actually see it in your mind happening in your life? Because at this point, the only thing that you can see right in front of you is you're locked up in prison. So what I began to do is reinvent myself. I actually started taking college courses. I enrolled in some counseling classes. So by the time that I was released in 1999, I had accumulated enough classes to have a business certificate and some college courses that I transferred over to the local community college, Mesa Community College. And then after a year of taking a full load of classes in the fall, full load of classes in the spring, I said, you know what? I said, I eventually want to go to Arizona State University, but I don't know if I qualify because I've never had that process before. So I applied, and lo and behold, see right here, May 9th, 2000, I was sent this letter from Arizona State University letting me know, congratulations, I am pleased to inform you that you have been admitted to Arizona State University, an academic community nationally recognized for innovative programs, outstanding instruction, and state-of-the-art facilities. I don't even need the rest of that. Every time I look at that, I'm able to take myself back to that moment because I was so excited. So I got started that fall of 2000, and in 3 years, I walked across the stage with both my mom and dad in the audience with a bachelor's degree. And that answered another question that I asked during the time I was in prison. Because I had heard so many negative stories about your life is over, it's ended, everybody's going to treat you like shit, nothing's going to happen to you. And I said, you know what? That might be true. But this is the lesson one of the lessons that I'm sharing with you is that I did not allow other people's opinions of where they might be thinking they're going and what opportunities are out there to affect my decision. I said, I am going to find out for myself if that is true. I wanted to know if a college degree trumped a felony. Okay, so here I am, a college graduate. I'm out there in the world, and the answer to that question is, at that particular time, is a yes and a no. There were some places that I could not get jobs, didn't matter if I had a degree. There were other places that I could get jobs because I actually had a state job. I worked as an academic advisor for Arizona State University, and then I worked as an academic advisor for the Maricopa Community College District. The most intense interview process I ever went in my life. 3 full-on interviews, all this other stuff. It was very intense, and I didn't think that I would get the job. But once I got it, it solidified with me that a felony can, in most cases, trump. Can a college degree trump a felony? So I was excited. Now, asking me that question years later, the answer to that question is an undisputed yes. A college degree can trump a felony. All right. So here I am. I'm trying to make my way, but I'm not making enough money. I now have 2 children. Their mom and I do not work out. So now I'm being this father, splitting custody with my children. So I'm having to pay child support. And so I got hired by a friend of mine whose brother was a Phoenix police officer. And he said, hey, you want to make some extra money? Work as a security at these clubs. You have some extra money because so much is being taken out of your check for child support. I said, great. So in the process of me working there, the police officers who ran the security staff looked around and said, this guy doesn't fit in here. He doesn't talk like these guys. He doesn't act like these guys. He's got these nerdy glasses on. He just conducts himself like a professional until he has to grab somebody and throw them out the door. I was a pretty good bouncer. I started working about 5 nights a week because I had gotten a reputation. And look, I'm not making this part of the video to brag about my ability to throw people out the club. I'm just telling you that I was good at what I did. And so I was getting offers to work 5 days a week as a bouncer. But here's what was going on at that time. The police officers were watching me. And like I said before, they said, this brother doesn't fit in here. So they pulled me to the side and said, hey, what's your story? What's your journey? How do you know my ignorant old brother? But you articulate, you seem very educated. You seem like a reader. So I told him my story. I told him, I used to play professional baseball. This is how I got down on that path. I was very depressed, and it led me into making these decisions. But now I reinvented myself, and this is where I am now. So I'm a college graduate, but yes, I'm also an ex-con. So they looked at that and they said, man, that is a powerful story. They said, what we would like to do is have you help us build or create a reentry program. And I thought for a second. I said, I said, no, I don't necessarily want to be the poster child. I said, I think that's, I don't really get to tell my story. I said, but what I will do is I'll help you design the program. So I took about the next 3-4 months and I basically said, where can I start? And I said, I'm going to begin this program right at the point of getting arrested and then go both directions. What does this person need that takes them forward so that when they get out, they're hitting the ground running? Okay. What resources are available? What mindset does this person need to be in? Okay. And then from the other side, I said, now we're going to go the other direction to try to figure out what can we do from a preventive measure to make sure that person doesn't get to the point of creating a felony. So I designed this program, but there was some things that just didn't go. So I actually go the right way. So I actually took the program myself and started shopping it around to other organizations. And then when I found one, I laid the program down and they allowed me to start doing the intakes. I was actually listed as the director. And so I was doing a lot of groundwork, laying the foundation, making connections to places so that they would actually be sending the people. I started talking to organizations as far as getting the necessary funding because I could go in there and pitch it and say, hey, I'm out. I'm college educated. I know the system, but I've been through it. So I know what these guys are going through. So here's what was going on. When I became the director, I was doing all the intake interviews, and I started meeting with all these guys. Parole officers and probation officers were sending these people my way on a regular basis. And I have a whole stack. I still have that stack of papers of where I did everybody's intake. But here's what was interesting about that. When I would do the intakes, I was always dressed in a suit, and I could see the reactions of the individuals as I was sitting across from them, asking these questions about their life and really getting personal. And so I could see that a lot of times it wasn't quite resonating with them. And at that point, I would tell them, I said, look, you're talking to former inmate 121289. I served time here in Arizona State, and at some levels I was in maximum security lockup. Okay, armed robbery, 3 counts of kidnapping. I was sitting in your seat. So I'm here to tell you, I know what you were going through. But if you want to come across this desk or this table and get into this seat, you're in the fire right now. You must do the work to get through the fire, and I will be glad to give you this seat, because then that'll mean that you're pushing me up to do better things. Now, from that conversation, I started meeting more and more and more individuals, having more and more of that conversation. And I met this one particular person. And usually after I do the initial intake, I have a follow-up with you a week later, and we're talking on the phone. I'm trying to engage with you because I'm really trying to gain that momentum that you're getting out. You're trying to go the right path. And so I want to help really kind of propel that energy that you have. So this day, this one particular guy sent him out. He came back after a week. Now, typically I always give them a sheet of paper or sheets of paper with about 100 different businesses of their names, their addresses, zip codes, phone numbers of companies that have gotten on a list that say that they hire ex-felons. Now, there's tax incentives for all that, but what I'm getting at is when that person came back the week, I was excited. I was like, hey, so how'd your week go? What contacts did you make? And the person was like, oh, man, it's rough out there, man. I don't, it's tough getting these doors slammed in my face. Man, I've been all over town. I said, man, I really don't want to go back and sell dope. I said, okay, I got you. You don't want to go back and sell dope? All right. So that list that I gave you, how many of those people did you contact? Now understand, that list had over 100 names of businesses, their addresses, and their numbers. So if he called a number and it didn't answer or was out of service, he could actually go and look up and see if that business was still in business. So if there was multiple ways of him to get the information that he needed to see if these people were hiring. But he shared with me, he said, about 3. And I was like, 3? I said, you mean to tell me in 7 days, you took this list of 100 companies with names, phone numbers, addresses, and you only contacted 3? I said, dude, what have you been doing? Oh, well, my girl's car and, the baby and all this stuff. I said, dude, I understand. I said, but let's be real. I said, those excuses are unacceptable, especially when you tell me that you do not want to go back and sell dope. Are you following me with this? You give a clear why you don't want to go back, but you do not put forth the action. All right. Because I said this to him. I said, your grind and your effort is under your control every single day. All right. And then I share it with him as I'm sharing with you. I said, you know what? I said, when I got out, I got a job at a call center as I'm trying to work myself through these corporate jobs. And I said, it required me to get on the phone. So when I was in training, I said, I had to just physically make phone calls to see if I can catch somebody and try to sell them whatever the product I was selling. And I said, my first or second day, I didn't get in touch with anyone. And this sheet came out. It's a production sheet. It says, these how long you were on the phone and how many calls you made. That particular day, that list came out and it showed that I made 534 calls in one day. And I said, I handed you a sheet and I said, to break that down, that's 66 calls per hour. And I took an hour lunch break. So for 8 hours, I was on the phone consecutive. Bad, busy signal, disconnected number. But I attempted 534 calls, 66 calls per hour in an 8-hour shift. So I said, you made 3. I gave you a list of 100. You could have attempted 1/5 of what I attempted and still got through every phone call, every phone number on your list. You see what I'm saying? Your grind, your effort is in your control every single day. Now, as I didn't really share this with him, but this is the mindset I'm thinking. You don't have to be great. You don't have to make 534 calls in one day. That's phenomenal. But you at least need to put forth the effort. So I'm saying you don't have to be great to get started. However, you do have to get started if you want to be great. All right. So, question now I'm trying to ask this gentleman, and I always challenge people with this: are you a victim or are you a leader? Because you can't be both. All right. This is Plan Your Greatness, and I'll say this again: plan your greatness. Why? Because no one else will. All right. Let me take this off, and I will see you all next time.